but obviously not shared by most of the candidates.
Well, you would think that there might be some provocateur quality, either to what former Senator Gravel said or what Congressman Kucinich said.
Speaking of the guy, Mike Gravel. Senator Gravel, thank you for joining us. Do you think you made an impact tonight, sir, in taking on what seems to be your view of the conventional wisdom of the Democrats?
I think somewhat, not as much as I would have liked. And when you say that everything was polite, well, I didn't get the same amount of time as the others. And I'll tell you, I'm prepared to mix it up. I don't know why we're dancing around. The Congress is not getting us out of Iraq, and their whole
okay, let's not dance around, Senator. Let's not dance around. Why do people like Hillary Clinton, why do Hillary Clinton and the other candidates at the top, with the exception perhaps of a few of them, why are they so careful not to challenge this president's central foreign policy of war in Iraq and potential war in other countries? Why don't they challenge it?
Because they are running for office and it's business as usual. It's politics as usual. They don't want to rock the boat. They don't want to rock the boat. And so they just dance around the issues, and they'll keep on doing as long as you in the media keep building them up. Does that answer your question, Chris?
No, I think it's a strong counterpunch to me, Senator. Where have you been since 1972?
You deserve it. You deserve it.
Where have you been, Senator, in this debate since 1972? The last time I saw you was at the Democratic Convention in 1972, putting your name in nomination for vice president.
I did not put my name in nomination. Wait a second. First off, Chris, you got it wrong, and the media's got it all wrong. I did not put my name in nomination. The National Committee woman of the state of Alaska put it in, and I was entitled to 3 speakers, and I thought it was important to stand up there and show people what I am and what I stand for. So I didn't nominate myself. I was putting forth my views at that point in time, which I thought were accurate then and are just as accurate today.
Where have you been for 35 years, sir?
Hiding under a rock for 10 years because I was so disgusted. I was so disgusted with the way the Congress works that when I left office, I thought I was a failure. I didn't realize that I had a record of ending the draft, of starting the nuclear critique, of creating the Alaska pipeline. You name it, my name is on all of the major environmental legislation that took place in the 70s. But when I left office, I felt terrible about the system. Now, I went in as an idealist, and I was getting corrupted by the system, and thank God I lost and got out. And I didn't come back. What I did is 10 years later, I started developing this concept that Americans are the ones that should come in as lawmakers, not me, Americans. And so when I filed for office, it was to bring attention to the national initiative, which is a federal ballot initiative to empower you, Chris Mathews, to be able to make laws. You're just as qualified as anybody in the Congress. Stop and think.
Let me ask you about it. What do you think of? What do you think of Barack Obama? Do you think he represents your thinking in terms of the fact that the war in Iraq was misconceived? That's the phrase he uses. He doesn't quibble with it. He doesn't say there aren't enough troops. He doesn't say we didn't wait long enough or we didn't build a big enough alliance. He said it was a bad idea. How's that differ from you?
Oh, considerably, considerably. Why doesn't he filibuster the funding? Why doesn't he go to Reid and say, look, what we've got to do is we've got to have a law, not a resolution. We've got to have a law that says if you don't get out of Iraq, what you've got to do is prosecute the president criminally for disobeying the law. Now, if you don't set that confrontation
but how can you get... But you're trying to criminalize the law by saying it's a felony. I heard you say that. I couldn't believe it. How can you pass a law if this president won't sign it? You know the Constitution. How can you make it felonious to have Bush's foreign policy if he doesn't sign the bill making himself a felon? It makes no sense what you're saying.
Well, it doesn't make a lot of sense, Chris, if you knew something about the tactics of the Senate. How the hell do you think I was able to stop the draft with a 5-month filibuster? I'm a good tactician. Let me tell you how you do it, Chris. Real simple. What you do is you know that he's going to veto it, and so that means you need 2/3 vote to override his veto. What you do in the Senate, what you do in the House.
Where do you get 16 Republicans to declare President Bush a felon?
Give me a break. They will. Trust me, they will. You know how you do it? Every single day, the Speaker brings up this legislation, and you have a vote on overriding the veto, and you do the same thing at noon in the Senate. And then the American people can clearly see who is for the continued killing. Of course, we'll have failures, forget the generals that are there. And then the people will be able to identify, here's the president, he won't do anything, here's the Congress, they don't have the guts to really face up to the problem, but you do it every day. Then Americans will get to see this. They'll be able to see black and white. Right now, what's happened is with the diddling around this happening, the Democrats have given shelter to the Republicans with the constitutional argument that they're using, which is accurate. It's accurate, Chris.
What's your next step, Senator? What are you going to do next? What are you going to do next in this campaign to keep excitement about your idea to declare the foreign policy of this administration to be a felony? What's your next step?
Next step is just go to the next debate, Chris, and maybe I'll get the same amount of time as the others.
Okay, thank you very much. Senator Mike Gravel, two-term senator from Alaska, back in action as you saw him tonight. Keith.